Is there anything more frustrating than this as a lead guitarist? You spend hours practicing the part until your fingers are numb. You nail the performance, and you pour all that emotion into the recording. Then you hit play on the full track, and it's gone, completely buried under a wall of rhythm guitars, crashing cymbals, and a busy vocal. All that hard work just disappears into a muddy, confusing mess. That cycle of frustration ends today. I'm going to show you 3 simple but incredibly powerful ways to take your lead guitar from sounding like this to this. Let's get into it. That difference you heard wasn't about cranking the lead guitar 10 dB louder. It's not about some $1,000 plugin or secret analog box. The truth is, making your lead guitar slice through a dense mix is all about creating space and contrast. It's about working smarter, not just turning up the volume. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 methods that pro mixers use every single day. We'll cover everything from building your tone to surgical EQ, and even a slick dynamic trick that honestly feels like magic. By the end of this, you'll have a complete game plan to make your solos not only heard, but totally shine and elevate the entire song. All right, our first and most important technique is all about creating contrast before you even touch an EQ. Here's a mistake so many of us make. We use the exact same amp, cabinet, and mic settings for our rhythm guitars and our lead guitar. When you do that, you're asking 2 things that sound identical to fight for the same space. It's like trying to read black text on dark gray background. It's a sonic battle, and your lead guitar will almost always lose. The principle here is simple. Tonal contrast creates separation. Our brains are hardwired to pick up different sounds and textures. When your lead guitar has a totally different character than your rhythm guitars, the listener's ear can latch onto it without even trying, even if the volumes are pretty close. Let me show you exactly what I mean. In this track, I've got 2 heavy rhythm guitars panned hard left and right. For this first example, both rhythms and lead are using the same amp sim, a modern, high-gain, Mesa dual rectifier. Listen to what happens when they all play together. The lead is there, but it's struggling. It feels like it's just part of the rhythm wall, not sitting on top of it. Now watch this. I'm not touching volume or panning. The only thing I'm changing is the amp model on the lead track. The rhythm guitars will keep that modern, scooped, high-gain sound, and for the lead, I'm switching to a completely different flavor, something more mid-focused and aggressive. This gives us an instant sonic difference. Listen to the difference now. Right away, the lead guitar carves out its own space. It isn't really louder, but it has its own unique voice that sets it apart from the rhythm guitars. The rhythms create this wide, powerful foundation, and the lead now sits proudly in the middle, speaking its own language. This works because different amps naturally boost different frequencies and have their own harmonic flavor. You don't have to use this exact amp combo, of course. The key is contrast. If your rhythm guitars are bright and crunchy, try a warmer, smoother amp for the lead. If they're dark and thick, try a lead tone with more upper mid-range bite. The same idea applies to cabinet impulse responses, or IRs. Just using a different speaker sim on your lead track can be enough to create that crucial separation. So before you do anything else, start at the source. Build a lead tone that sounds fundamentally different from your rhythm tone. Next up, let's get surgical with an equalizer. Now that we have a solid contrast with our amp choice, we can use an EQ to really refine that separation and guarantee the lead guitar has its own dedicated pocket to live in. This is how we go from good separation to a great one. The most important frequency range for any instrument that needs to be up front, whether it's a vocal or guitar solo, is the mid-range. Specifically, that area between about 800 Hz to 4 kHz is where our ears find clarity and presence. There's a reason why it's called the vocal zone. It's where all the important stuff happens. Your lead guitar needs to own this piece of real estate to cut through. For a lot of rock and metal guitars, there's a sweet spot right around 900 Hz. A little boost here can add an almost vocal-like quality that pushes the guitar forward without making it sound harsh or painfully bright. Let's go back to our track. The lead already sounds way better after the amp swap, but with the full mix going, it could still use a little help to really pop. I'm going to pull up a basic parametric EQ. I'll find a sweet spot around 900 Hz that sounds really good and create a boost. The key is to not go crazy here. We're not looking for a massive 10 dB spike that makes it sound like a telephone. A gentle 2 to 4 dB boost with a reasonably wide bandwidth is usually all it takes. Now for the real test. Let's hear it in the full mix. Here is the solo with our new amp, but before the EQ boost. Now, here it is with that 900 hertz boost turned on. It's like a spotlight just hit the lead guitar. It slices through the mix and demands your attention. Every note is clear, and all the little details of the performance are perfectly easy to hear. If you want to take this a step further for a truly pro-level separation, you can do the reverse on your rhythm guitars. On your rhythm guitar bus, pull up another EQ and make a small cut in that same 900 hertz area. You're basically carving out a custom-made pocket in the rhythm section that's perfectly shaped for your lead guitar. This makes sure they aren't fighting for the same critical frequencies. By the way, if you're finding these tips useful and you're finally seeing how to make your solos pop, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's a huge help and lets me know I'm on the right track, and it helps other musicians find the video to solve the exact same problem. Now, let's get to our final game-changing technique. This final technique is maybe the most overlooked, but it makes a huge difference. The problem with making a static EQ cut on your rhythm guitars is that a hole is always there. Even when the lead guitar isn't playing notes in that range, your rhythm tracks have that dip, which can make them sound a bit thin or weak. But what if you could create that space for the lead guitar automatically, and only for the frequencies it's actually playing? That's where dynamic separation comes in, and it feels like cheating. We can do this with a dedicated tool like Wave Factory's Track Spacer. The whole idea is based on sidechaining. We're going to tell the rhythm guitars to listen to the lead guitar and intelligently get out of its way in real time. Here's how it works. First, I'll put Track Spacer on my main rhythm guitar bus, where all my main rhythm tracks are routed. Next, inside the plugin, I'll set up its sidechain input to listen to my lead guitar track. Now, Track Spacer is listening to the lead guitar. It analyzes the lead's frequencies in real time and applies a reduction to the rhythm guitars, dipping only the specific frequencies that are clashing, and only while the lead is playing. The second the lead stops, the rhythm guitars go right back to their full, untouched sound. Watch the plugin as I play the solo. You can literally see it carving out a space for the lead. That moving curve shows the frequencies being ducked in the rhythm section, constantly adapting to whatever the guitarist is playing. Let's do a before and after. Here's the mix with our new amp and the EQ boost, but without Track Spacer. Sounds great. Now, here it is with Track Spacer activated. It's subtle, but there's an improvement. The lead guitar feels like it's floating on top of the mix in its own little bubble of clarity. What's wild is you don't really notice the rhythm guitar is getting thinner. You just notice the lead guitar getting clearer. This is so much more natural than manually automating the rhythm faders down during a solo. Volume automation turns everything down, including frequencies that weren't even clashing. This dynamic approach is precise, surgical, and just works. So to recap, we just covered 3 powerful ways to make your lead guitar cut through any mix. First, we built a foundation of contrast by using a different amp or cabinet for our lead guitar than our rhythm tracks. This gives it a unique identity right from the start. Second, we used a surgical EQ boost on our lead guitar around 900 hertz. This pushed it into the critical mid-range zone, giving it presence and clarity without making it sound harsh. And third, we used the magic of dynamic separation with a tool like Track Spacer. By sidechaining our lead guitar to our rhythm bus, we created space automatically and transparently, giving the solo maximum clarity without hurting the power of the rhythm section. The best part is, you don't have to choose just one. In fact, they stack together perfectly. Use a different amp, add that focus EQ boost, and then top it off with some dynamic EQ for the ultimate pro-level lead guitar sound. You now have a clear, repeatable game plan to take your solos from buried and lost to powerful and commanding. You have the tools. Now go make your lead guitars demand the attention they deserve. To help you get that perfect source tone we talked about, I put together a completely free guide for you on how to record guitar and bass DIs like a pro. There's a link to that in the description. And if you're interested in having me mix your music, there's a link in the description to get in contact with me as well. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Which of these 3 techniques are you most excited to try in your next mix? Or maybe you have a secret weapon of your own for making leads cut through. I read every single comment, so let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. Now go make something awesome.